Morning. I'll try that again. Good morning. That's better. This is my fifth one. This is your first one. So help me out a little bit, okay? So my name is Mike Ciosi. I'm the president here at Rowan College of Burlington County. And, I think after 14 months of working from my basement, helping to homeschool my 4 children, and leading a college in which the vast majority of our folks were at home, it feels pretty incredible to say, welcome to Rowan College of Burlington County. It is a welcome sight to see this beautiful campus full of energy, excitement, and actual people. A year ago, we had a major goose problem that we were chasing away because, there was no people, and the geese said, hey, look, that looks pretty attractive parking lots to do our business in. So you are all a major upgrade over those geese, I will say. But I'm glad you could join us to give our graduates the recognition they deserve, both the class of 2021 and the class of 2020, who have waited a full year for this day to come. So how about a round of applause for our graduates? As a reminder, today's ceremony is being live streamed, and I would be remiss, this is our 5th one. I want to thank Dan, Dave, and Sam, who, if you are watching at home or have checked out any of our feeds on our Facebook page or YouTube page, they are the magicians that make me look good in HD, and you all look good. So instructions are on the college's website, rcbc.edu. So if you want to send a quick text to someone who might want to watch today's ceremony or any of those ceremonies from the last week, now's the time to send that text. And I will plug that for graduates that were unable to attend any of our in-person ceremonies, we do have a virtual ceremony where all graduates' names are going to be read tonight, 7 o'clock, on the college's Facebook page. So as I mentioned, today's one of 5 ceremonies that we've done this week. They've each had a little different look and feel, and I think that's okay. Everything has a different look and feel these days. But we've made it, and today we're here to celebrate you. The past year has become part of the fabric of America's story, including our struggles to work together to overcome the pandemic, as well as racial, social, and political unrest. Please rise to honor our country's national anthem. I would ask that you please remain standing for a moment, as I would like to take a moment of reflection to say a prayer, remember a loved one, or just appreciate your personal trail that has led to this day. Thank you. You may all be seated. I thought it was important to begin with a moment of reflection because there's been a lot to think about over the past 14 months. Our worlds have changed, but nothing can take away the accomplishments of our students. Earning a college degree is difficult enough when balancing the priorities such as career and family. But then you all had to figure out how to do that amidst a pandemic when someone might be sick, a young child might be struggling to adapt to online learning, or you couldn't remember if your next meeting was on Zoom, WebEx, or Google Meet. It would be easy to simply think about experiences that we've lost over the past year. I've personally preferred to look at what we have gained. All of us have gained the self-confidence and empowerment of overcoming an unprecedented, generation-defining moment of our lives. Our students, our faculty, and our staff reinvented how we work and learn with flexibility, patience, and good nature. We have reimagined the meaning of community as we've adapted to a digital world more quickly than I think any of us anticipated. We have helped each other, whether it was students helping each other study online, faculty members giving struggling students their personal cell phone numbers, or our nursing students who started this pandemic volunteering at the COVID testing center and are now volunteering at the COVID vaccination sites. You know, in the last year, how many folks went months without a haircut? Clap, maybe. Yeah, a couple folks went a couple of months. How did anyone have trouble getting toilet paper over the last year? I started growing a beard a year ago, and I haven't shaved once. Can you tell? But how many folks finished a college degree? Right, you guys. Toilet paper and haircuts are easy compared to what you guys had to do. So this has been difficult on a million different levels. But I'm going to emerge with a greater sense of appreciation for family, community, and our ability to persevere. I hope some of you share my pride and optimism inherent in both the class of 2021 and the class of 2020, who we invited to participate this week. In fact, I would like to single out our class of 2020 graduates. I know waiting a year creates some complexity for attending a ceremony, so I would ask for a round of applause for this class and the patience that they've exhibited. I also want to acknowledge my appreciation for some of the special guests seated behind me and in the front row to my left, all socially distanced, of course. So you're going to hear from three of these amazing folks in a little bit, but I want to name check them up front. So we do have President's Award winner Rebecca Feinberg. We have one of our two keynote speakers, Dr. Neely Hackett, Superintendent of Schools at Willingboro. We have our second keynote speaker, Congressman Andy Kim. We are lucky in Burlington County to have the support of county leadership, and we have one of our county commissioners, Tom Pullian, and I'm lucky to have one of my vice presidents on the stage with me as well, Senior Vice President Provost Dr. David Spang. To my left, seated up front, we have one of the college's trustees. So again, you know, having a board that lets me do what I do helps. I'll say that. So thank you, Dorian. I have both of my two remaining vice presidents, Dr. Karen Archambault, who leads our enrollment management and student success team, and Anna Payanzo-Cotton, who leads our workforce development team. We're blessed to have a partner in Wilmington University and who's committed to us and all of you. Dr. Pete Bailey's here. He's the VP for External and International Affairs. We also have one of our host community residents, Willingboro Councilman Nathaniel Anderson. So thank you all for being here today as well. But the real VIPs of this day are our graduates. Your degree certifies that you possess knowledge and mastery of skills. A degree earned amid a pandemic certifies your character and your work ethic. It is a badge of honor that you can proudly show to the world as proof that you are career ready, crisis tested, and one tough Baron. And speaking of Barons, I hope you all saw Barry. This was his coming out party. So this was his first in-person ceremony this year too. So not today, but this week. So, but as you move forward, I do have one request to help the next generation of Barons. The Rowan College of Burlington County Foundation provided almost $165,000 in direct scholarship aid this year in our shared goal of making a high-quality education accessible to all. I know many of the graduates today benefited from this financial assistance, and I want to take a moment to remember that help that we've and you have received along the way, and ask if you can to pay it forward with a gift of $20.21 in honor of our graduates. You can text RCBC to 71777 or visit them online, rcbc.edu/foundation. Next, we're going to hear from one very impressive parent. This morning's student speaker has a perfect blend of academic excellence and community service, both on and off campus. Rebecca Feinberg is a highly motivated student who plans to continue her studies through our 3+1 program and pursue a career as a cardiovascular surgeon. Rebecca was selected as one of the President's Award winners here at RCBC after completing her biology degree with a perfect 4.0 GPA. On campus, she was active with our service learning team, which helped keep the college's food pantry open to our students during the pandemic. And the program also helped the Red Cross host numerous blood drives over the last year, while many other facilities had to cancel due to COVID. Rebecca also volunteers to help animals at the Cedar Run Wildlife Refuge and seniors at the Medford Lees community. Her service actually extends far beyond this community, actually this planet, as she won the college's chemistry award after participating in a research project about how to sustain life on Mars. So I'm going to call my friend Elon Musk and see if we can get a ride out there. But please welcome President's Award winner, Rebecca Feinberg.
Good morning. First, I would like to thank and acknowledge all RCBC faculty, as well as all of our friends and family. Without the unlimited support provided by them, we would not be here today accepting our degree. As we all know, learning and living during a pandemic has proven to be exceedingly difficult. For instance, we were quarantined and had restricted access to campus. However, despite these extreme changes in learning and isolation from our communities, we've all managed to complete our studies. I believe that this accomplishment would not have been possible without the skills of self-discipline and self-motivation that we have acquired. These skills are heavily promoted and taught throughout the unique opportunities RCBC has to offer. And this past year has given us the opportunity to test these skills in ways we never thought possible. Many of us were in the 3+1 program following a rigorous course schedule. For me, the next step would be to obtain my Bachelor's of Science from Rowan University and pursue my dream of becoming a cardiovascular surgeon. I hope to stay within the Rowan family by attending Cooper Medical School. Becoming a member of the healthcare field has always been an aspiration of mine due to their abilities to provide care and save lives. I decided to specifically become a cardiovascular surgeon because this profession performs life-saving operations on a daily basis. Although it seemed daunting at first, without this RCBC program, I would not have been able to properly motivate or discipline myself to complete my schoolwork. With engagement and encouragement from the program's head advisors, I believe all 3+1 members were given the opportunity to reach their full potential. I'm also a proud member of RCBC's Service Learning Scholars Program. This program has given me the opportunity to change lives through the ample volunteer opportunities we host, such as our Red Cross blood drives and the food pantry located on our campus. I am grateful and honored to have met Erica Franklin, the program's head advisor. For me, Ms. Franklin embodies the undying support and mentorship found within all RCBC faculty and programs. In addition to these two programs, I was also most recently welcomed into the position of a student worker in RCBC STEM department. As a student worker, I was not only given the opportunity to practice these skills of self-discipline and self-motivation, I was also given the opportunity to be mentored by our prestigious STEM faculty. In accordance to staying local and attending RCBC, I was able to continue my volunteer work at Cedar Run, my local wildlife rehabilitation center, and continue working at my local retirement care facility, Medford Lees. At Cedar Run, I care for wounded animals and rehabilitate them to be released back into the wild. At Medford Lees, I provide food service and care to the residents. In order to ensure the greatest care for my community elders and our wildlife friends, being consistent in my presence at these workplaces is of the utmost importance. This wouldn't have been possible if I went to a university or another institution away from home. The skills and knowledge we have learned at RCBC in order to earn our degrees has created a solid foundation for us to utilize in our future career paths. The accomplishments that we have achieved during our time here will only lead to a greater success. Thanks to this great foundation RCBC has given us, I believe the future success for the class of 2021 is truly limitless. Thank you and congratulations.
I feel like a slacker every time I hear all the stuff that Rebecca's doing. Yikes. Congratulations, Rebecca. Thank you. Successful students require both the self-discipline and motivation that Rebecca mentioned, and outstanding faculty. Yesterday, we celebrated Dr. Shannon Williams from nursing as the Professor of the Year. Today, I want to acknowledge a biology instructor, Laura Ritt, for her many years of service to RCBC. Professor Ritt set a standard for academic excellence, and it is my honor on behalf of the RCBC Board of Trustees to announce that she has achieved the rank of Professor Emeritus. So we know Professor Ritt will be missed in the classroom, but she will always remain a part of the RCBC community. Please join me in congratulating Professor Emeritus Laura Ritt. So, amongst the many logistical challenges of planning commencement and trying to figure out our summer semester and our fall semester and next spring semester, was how to handle keynote speakers without having to impose on one person to speak 6 times. So, instead of imposing on just one great speaker, we identified 5, whose collective stories I think really serve as a time capsule to some of the year's most powerful themes: COVID, racial equity, social justice, democracy, and continuing education throughout a pandemic. As a father of 4 children myself, I gained a deeper appreciation for local educators over the past year. Running a college is easy in comparison to helping 7-year-olds log into class, getting teenagers to do their homework, or get out of bed, I'll say, and make sure that we have enough Wi-Fi in the house. So thanks a lot, Comcast. Many of our students, faculty, and staff, and guests were in similar situations. So we wanted to have representation from one of our outstanding K-12 partners in recognition of the exemplary education that occurs right here in Burlington County, both in normal conditions and during a pandemic. Dr. Neely Hackett has held leadership positions throughout the state, including superintendent of Irvington before transitioning to Willingboro, which is one of RCBC's high school partners. As a Willingboro resident, Dr. Hackett was transitioning to her new position as Willingboro superintendent while also navigating the pandemic. Dr. Hackett is committed to ensuring every student has access to a quality education that makes them college and career ready. Since RCBC shares those goals, I look forward to working with Dr. Hackett to help achieve them, as well as hearing her inspirational words today for you, our graduates. Dr. Hackett.
Good morning. You look absolutely amazing. Congratulations. Let's celebrate. Give yourselves a round of applause. You look amazing. I like to begin my remarks at graduations by putting a question in the air and kind of letting it linger throughout my remarks. So my question this morning is, who is ready to change the world? Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. This quote is by one of my favorite people, Nelson Mandela. He's one of my heroes, whose personal testimony demonstrates resilience in the face of adversity. Who is ready to change the world? I see before me a sea of endless possibilities, of individuals who can promote the change that this world needs, the change that can make our world better, more inclusive, more tolerant, and more productive. Who is ready to change the world? I'd like to thank President Ciosi, Dr. Sprang, Board of Trustees, faculty, and staff for the honor of being here this morning and participating in this commencement program. I'd like to acknowledge Congressman Andy Kim and Commissioner Tom Polyan, and all of the dignitaries and officials who are participating in this prestigious program. Congratulations to the President Award winner, Rebecca Feinberg, and I wish you well. That was an amazing speech. So on behalf of the Board of Education members and the amazing students, staff, and parents of the Willingboro Public Schools, I greet each of you with the pride and enthusiasm that this moment brings in each and every one of us. Congratulations to the individuals who make up the sea of endless possibilities. Congratulations to the classes of 2020 and 2021. You have earned all of the accolades that will be bestowed upon you for this tremendous accomplishment. I'd like to congratulate all the family members and friends for what you have done to make this moment possible. Can we give our family and friends a round of applause? Thank you. I'm just going to spend a few moments this morning focusing on resilience. Resilience is defined as the ability to withstand, recover, and bounce back amid stress, chaos, and ever-changing circumstances. I believe that people who can truly change this world show empathy, they show compassion, tolerance, respect, and resilience. The first four that I mentioned, empathy, compassion, tolerance, and respect, are about how we respond to others. And of course, how we treat others defines our character. But resilience is about the individual. It's how we respond to the challenges of life. I would say that without resilience, which is the ability to make those internal adjustments, it's difficult to give of ourselves to others. Resilience gives us our testimony, and our testimony can inspire and encourage others. In the definition of resilience, there is a trio that kind of served as our kryptonite over the past 15 months: stress, chaos, and ever-changing circumstances. But resilience gave us the superhuman power to declare victory over that trio. It gave us a testimony. So a testimony of resilience. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, had just gotten a divorce, was on government assistance, suffered from depression, and could barely afford to feed her baby in 1994, just 3 years before the first Harry Potter book was published. The first book was rejected 12 times before it was accepted by a publisher. A testimony of resilience. Tyler Perry, writer, producer, and actor, had a very difficult childhood. He was physically and sexually abused, lived in poverty, and attempted suicide. At 23 years old, he moved to Atlanta and took odd jobs while he worked on his stage career. A testimony of resilience. Dr. Antonia Novello overcame childhood poverty and illness to become one of the leading doctors in America. At birth, she was diagnosed with congenital megacolon, which is an abnormality of the large intestine. This was a painful condition that plagued her throughout her entire childhood. In fact, she was told she needed surgery at 8 years old, but did not get that surgery until she was 18 years old. A testimony of resilience. Dr. Neely Hackett, superintendent of the Willingboro Public Schools and an administrator for 23 years, grew up in very humble beginnings in a single-family home. Her mother struggled to pay the bills, and to keep food on the table. She actually did her homework by candlelight a few times because her mother was unable to pay the public service bill. She grew up in a challenged neighborhood and did not always make the best of decisions. Trouble knocked on her door more times than she cares to remember. But she eventually became the superintendent in the town in which she was raised, and now she proudly serves as superintendent in the town in which she resides. She became chief of schools in Willingboro 1 month after the district closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And although the last 15 months have been the most difficult of her career, she pressed through that stress, chaos, and ever-changing circumstances. And with the collaboration of the Willingboro stakeholders, she worked toward the best opportunity for the Willingboro students. Testimonies of resilience. I am quite certain that the Rowan College at Burlington County classes of 20 and 21 have unique and remarkable testimonies about how they pushed through the stress, chaos, and ever-changing circumstances. But I can certainly tell you that they all share the testimony of not letting the last 15 months keep them from reaching the goal of sitting here in these seats today, and they should be very proud of themselves. They should know now, if they did not know before, that they can move mountains. They are our hope for a better tomorrow, a tomorrow that's more inclusive, more tolerant, and more productive. They have demonstrated that nothing can stand in their way. They have personified resilience, and they have a powerful testimony. The testimony of J.K. Rowling continues. The 6th installation of Harry Potter sold 6.9 million copies in the United States in its first 24 hours of release. The testimony of Tyler Perry continues. He was named Forbes' highest paid man in entertainment in 2011. His career spans theater, movies, books, television, and he owns his own film studio. The testimony of Dr. Antonio Novello continues. She was the first woman and the first Hispanic to serve as Surgeon General of the United States in the early 90s. She focused on health for young people, women, and minorities. The testimony of Dr. Neely Hackett continues. She completed her first year as superintendent of schools in a pandemic, and she never lost focus of the students who served as the center of every one of her decisions. The testimonies of the RCBC classes of 2020 and 2021 continue. They will undoubtedly use this experience, this time, as confirmation that anything is possible. Their testimonies will continue to be written, and I pray that they will use their testimonies to engage, to uplift, and yes, to change the world. Classes of 2020 and 2021, reach high, dream big, and believe in the power that you possess. Never let the fear of failure stop you from striving to accomplish your goals. If you fail at something, and trust me, you will, get up, brush it off, and keep moving, because you know the power of resilience. So in the beginning of my remarks, I put a question out in the air. I'm going to snatch that question back now. Who is ready to change the world? I say you are. Yes, you are. Each and every one of you. And I have every confidence that your testimonies will inspire others through your successful experiences and your will to overcome any challenge placed before you. I pray that resilience serves as your constant companion and that your futures are filled with many successful experiences. Congratulations, and let's go change the world. Thank you.
How awesome was that? With a doctorate in educational leadership, Dr. Hackett is well credentialed in education. Navigating a crisis tests the skills of any great communicator. So I would like to present Dr. Hackett with an honorary degree in communications, especially after that speech, which qualifies you for junior level classes in our 3+1 program. So registration's open, rcbc.edu. Summer semester actually starts today, if anybody's interested. So this is our last and largest of our 5 on-campus ceremonies this week. And our graduates warranted 2 speakers. As our country faced serious and sometimes violent divisions among political and racial lines, our next speaker provided some hope by picking up some hope. After the attacks at the Capitol in January, Congressman Kim became a national story for picking up debris in the wake of the tragic violence. This relatively small act became a metaphor for how we all have responsibility to protect our democracy and how everyone should pitch in to make our world a better place. Congressman Kim represents the 3rd Congressional District, which includes where we are standing and sitting right at this moment in Burlington County. He has been an advocate for us at RCBC, our students, and many of the small businesses with whom we partner. As our country continues to grapple with violence and racism, he has become an advocate for the Asian American Pacific Islander community. Throughout the pandemic, Congressman Kim has been a great friend to the college, our students to make sure that we have resources to maintain access to quality higher education right here in Burlington County. On a lighter note, he has kept us entertained on social media too, so he's a must follow if you're not already. He's taught us how to make bagels from scratch, and I heard someone talking to him about this a minute ago about building that Lego Millennium Falcon with one of his sons. So please welcome Congressman Andy Kim.
Good morning, everyone. I want to start by just saying to the graduates, congratulations. I'm very excited for you. I'm really excited about what comes next. I'm excited to see how you delve into the uncertainty of tomorrow and how you rise up. To the parents and families, I want to say congratulations. How proud you must be right now. How much you've been looking forward to this day. As a father of a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, I look forward to one day being in your seat and beaming with the pride and the confidence that you have now. Also, wondering what they will do with the uncertainty of tomorrow. I would never know exactly what to say at events like this. I don't feel like I have any wise words of wisdom to share, nothing but my own experiences. But let me just take a moment to just reflect upon the moment that we're living in right now. I don't think anyone would discount the fact that right now we live in historic times. There are many factors that bring that together, that have us understand the gravity of the moment that we live in, whether due to the pandemic, the economic challenges that we face, the global changes, and literally the tectonic plates shifting beneath our feet in international politics, and our own challenges as a nation to rise up to the great words that founded us. We live in historic times. The question now is, what are you going to do about it? If we live in historic times, what are you, what am I, what are we going to do about it? When I was in your seats graduating from college, we were going through another historic moment as a nation. I was a sophomore in college when September 11th occurred, a tragedy that not only shaked our state but our entire nation. And we experienced uncertainty about what comes next, similar to what we experience right now. I felt a daunting weight of gravity and history upon me at that time, wondering, what am I going to do? What is my role in what comes next? When you have these moments of such intense magnitude, what could I do as an individual? What can I do as a kid who grew up in public schools here in New Jersey do during that moment? What I hope you find as you explore this on your own is that when we live in historic times, we also find that there are historic opportunities here about what role you can play, the kind of change that you can make, the kind of fluidity that exists out there in the world right now, waiting to be shaped by those that dare to step up and do their part. I was asked to reflect upon the moment that was described in the introduction about January 6th. It's a moment that's tough for me to think about still. It's hard to process still what happened on that day. I remember the feeling stepping out from the House of Representatives chambers and walking through the Capitol for the first time, walking into the rotunda, what I believe to be the most beautiful room in our country. What I did next was simply something that it was an act of service and love for this country. It was simply a moment where I stepped into that room, recognized that this was a historic day, and asked myself, what am I going to do about it? The things that we do are not always the biggest things. It's not always brokering peace treaties or trying to solve the biggest problems in our nation. Sometimes it's the small things that matter. Because what I learned that day, and when I learned from the reaction of the country in the aftermath of that dark day, is that it's not just what you do that counts. It's how you do it and how you treat people along the way. I learned that day the deep importance of humility in our lives. The recognition that we don't have all the answers, and that's okay. The recognition that we don't have a monopoly on all the good ideas in the world, and that we see value in each other. The necessity of dialogue, the necessity of communication, and the necessity of respect. What I also saw on that day in January 6th is that reinforced to me that we as a nation right now struggle from a crisis of empathy. That we struggle right now as a society to see the world through someone else's eyes, to understand what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes. And that's something I challenge all of us to be thinking about. That we can understand the life and the struggles and the pains, but also the hopefulness of others. I just say once again, we live in these historic times. It is derived and determined based off of those that step up. Today, you are stepping up. And I'm so excited for what you're going to do. I'm so excited to stay in touch with you all, to work with you in our broader community to be able to shape what comes next. We live in historic times. What are you going to do about it? Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, we're 5 for 5 on our speakers because that was another home run. Thank you, Congressman Kim. Thank you for your words to our graduates, your service to our community. You have exhibited incredible humanitarianism in recent months that goes beyond the role of an elected official. And because of your acts aimed toward bringing communities together with the true spirit of service to fellow human beings, I would like to present you with an honorary degree in human services from RCBC. Okay. All the speeches are done. I don't know whose idea it was to put you guys in black, but I will not apologize about this perfect weather. But I think we're going to officially close the book on 2020. How's that sound? I mean, it's over already, but it still feels like pieces of it. It is time to celebrate and recognize the individual members of the classes of 2020 and the class of 2021 who have been identified as candidates for graduation. Now, normally the Board of Trustees would ceremonially confer the candidates on stage. This occurred previously in a pre-non-COVID universe. Another COVID protocol that we're introducing this week is touchless pickup. So we're gonna see, this is your final test, okay? Finals are done, all the hard stuff is done, but this is the hard test. When graduates come to the stage, they will pick up one shell to my left and stand on the 2 feet that say, please stand here, okay? So, and don't fall between your seat and here. So that is the test. I will ask the ushers to escort the candidates to the stage, and please remember to keep yourselves 6 feet apart.
Michelle V. Noga, Associates of Science. Gianna Marciano, Associates of Science. No, wait. Wait till she gets up there. Okay, I did. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tiffany L. Reed, Associates of Applied Science. Avneet Kaur, Associates of Applied Science and Associates of Science. Tamika D. Blake Billy, Associates of Science. Maybelline A. Miguel, Associates of Science, High Honors. Shannon Leidick, Associates of Science, High Honors. Rebecca Feinberg, Associates of Science, Biology. Brendan W. Pun, Associates of Science. Bianca Castildo, Associates of Science. Andrea Hoffman, Associate of Science. Cosmo DeGennaro III, Associates of Science, Honors. Gina DeMayo, Associates of Science, Honors. Brianna H. Rivera, Associates of Science, dual degree, honors. Kiernan Heisler, Associates of Science, dual degree. Josephine Blankard, Associate of Science. Diego Aguilar, Associates of Applied Science, honors. Hannah R. Torres, Associates of Science. Kailu Crizel Canless, Associates of Science. Taylor A. Johnson, Associate of Science. Jenna E. Guevara, Associates of Science, high honors. Alicia L. Robinson, Associate of Science. Frank Yannick Hina Jomo, Jr., Associates of Applied Science. Brianna N. Taylor, Associates of Science. Alexandra Ziga, Associates of Science, honors. Esther Desir, Associates of Science, honors. Yaroslava Porfirio, Associates of Science, highest honors. Janisa Delva, Associates of Science, highest honors. Abigail L. Kosper, Associates of Science, highest honors. Chloe N. Lynch, Associates of Science, honors. Ohala Mustafa, Associates of Science, dual degree, highest honor. Fiza Bashar, Associates of Science. Kissa S. Scott, Associate of Science. Judy Chavez, Associates of Applied Science. Andrew D. Boyer, Associates of Applied Science, highest honors. Brian V. Baines, Jr., Associates of Applied Science. Melissa L. Hudson, Associates of Science. Sarah K. Puvel, Associate of Science. Joshua M. Groves, Associate of Science. Maya Sykes, Associate of Science. Destiny Moore, Associate of Science. Tiffany D. Hughes, Associates of Science. Nicolette M. Belperio, Associates of Science, high honors. Colin J. Reeser, Associates of Applied Science. Nira S. Crawford, Associates of Science, honors. Nicole I. Durr, Associate of Science. Jasmine McCormick, Associate of Science, highest honors. Martine Leek, Associate of Science, honors. Ada D. Jahal, Associate of Science. Caitlin E. Burns, Associate of Science, highest honors. Aurea N. De Jesus, Career Certificate. Tiffany G. Hawley. Dorotea Enriquez, Associate of Science, highest honors. Jared L. Shin, Associates of Applied Science. Abigail B. Quinn, Associate of Science. Devin Lee Walker, Associates of Science, honors. Marcus O. Moore, Associate of Science. Janelle J. DeTorres, Associate of Science. Chriswell C. Rivera, Associate of Applied Science. Midori Carr Prichette, Associate of Science, high honors. Danielle S. Bloomer, Associates of Applied Science. Vitaly Fedorovo, Associates of Applied Science. Con S. Pham, Associate of Science. Nicole M. Daniels, Associates of Science, honors. Victoria Gambino, Associate of Applied Science. Gabriela E. Verdugo Hernandez. Okay, I got it. Stephanie E. Verdugo Hernandez, Associates of Science, dual degree. Here's the first. Manir Tanner, Associate of Science. Emily A. Doughty, Associate of Science, honors. Kaylin M. Nelson, Associate of Science. Francisco O. Hoya Nolasco, Associate of Science, honors. Josias A. Senado, Associates of Applied Science. Gabrielle A. White, Associate of Science. Matthew L. Potts, Associate of Science and Associate of Applied Science. Sophia R. Carr Olszewski. Taylor Y. Warren, Associates of Science. Richard J. Lacey, Career Certificate. Cassie Franklin, Associates of Dual Science degree, honors. Harvey N. Ganpu, Associates of Applied Science. Jackson Dyson, Associates of Science. Marissa A. Walker, Associate of Science. Ashley J. Nestor, Associates of Applied Science and Career Certificate, High Honors. Hannah Voro, Associates of Applied Science, Honors. Emily Worthington, Associates of Applied Science, High Honors. Joanne K. Moore, Associates of Science. Christopher Shaharko, Associates of Science, highest honor. Gregory M. Sakaro, Associates of Science, highest honors. One more. Nicholas J. Sicharo, Associates of Science, highest honors. Amanda S. Roan, Associates of Science. Emily M. Hoffman, Associates of Science, honors. Amanda J. Wells, Associates of Applied Science, highest honors. Hansi Satie, Associates of Science, highest honors. Dante J. Costella, Associates of Science, honors. Gabrielle A. McCluskey, Associates of Science, honors. Ebony V. Brimley, Associates of Science. Ajay A. Thompson, Associates of Science, honors. Nazim O. Tajani, Associates of Science, highest honors. Diane B. Adolph, Associates of Applied Science. David A. Janes, Associates of Science. Arlene D. Harmon, Associates of Applied Science, honors. Jose J. Pazmino, Associates of Applied Science. Mohammed Zafir, Associates of Science, Biology. Jasmeet K. Bopari, Associates of Science, honors. Krish Patel, Associates of Science. James W. Best, Associates of Science. David S. Capobianco, Associates of Science, highest honors. Alana David, Associates of Science, dual degree. Amanda M. Nev, Associates of Science, highest honors. Yeah. Deneen Bowens, Associates of Science. Patricia I. Quinn, Associates of Science, highest honors. Michaela J. Marini Barsky, Associates of Science. Jordan C. Four, Associate's degree. Felicity R. Moore, Associates of Science, honors. Kiara Harris, Associates of Applied Science, honors. Alexandria D. Velez Narabo, Associates of Science, highest honors. Amir M. Alakim, Associates of Science. Caleb Gardner, Associates of Science, Cybersecurity. Honors. Sandrine Gulshiran, Associates of Science, highest honors. Dennis O. Warroro, Associates of Science, highest honors. Rachel Rowe Giovanni, Associates of Science. Abdul F. Saadugo, Associates of Science. Where did they go?
Let's give it up for the reader for butchering all your names, probably. Okay. I said it was a test. So Rebecca, the two Verdugo Hernandez girls, and my guy in the third row, 3 in, you didn't step on the feet, so we're actually going to have to revoke your diplomas. But seriously, congratulations to members of the classes of both 2020 and 2021. Graduates, you may now move your tassels from your right to your left. I guess I lied. That was the last test because you have to know the difference between your right and your left, you know. So my right is not your right. Before we conclude, I want to thank the folks that made this campus look amazing today, our facilities team, our public safety team, our student services team, our student life team, everybody in between those groups, our AV team, our marketing team, everybody. I want to applaud our faculty who are seated to my right, who have worked tirelessly to prepare the next generation of leaders seated in front of me. Give it up for our faculty. All of the family and friends on the other side of the divider, I don't think any of us can do what we do by ourselves. So to mom, dad, husbands, wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, neighbors, children, let's give it up for the folks on the other side of that girder there. And of course, one final round of applause for the graduates. Congratulations on your accomplishments. As we conclude the ceremony this morning, I would ask that our guests please remain standing at your seats while our platform guests exit and lead faculty, staff, and graduates out of the quad. Have a great summer, everybody. See you soon.